know they can start.
Oh,
Mr. Chairman, there used to be a gavel up there.
Yeah, well.
They broke it.
that's the best I can do. Okay, everyone. Hi, everyone, and good evening, and welcome to the regular September 5th meeting of the Danvers Select Board. We will open, as we always do, with a Pledge of Allegiance. And Maureen, would you be comfortable leading the pledge?
Absolutely, thank you. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Maureen.
You're welcome.
And our first item is on the agenda is new public business. Anyone may speak, limiting comments to 2 minutes of anything that you'd like to bring to the attention of the board. Mr. Bradstreet.
Thank you.
Couple of things, I'll try to be quick. 28th of August, I left a ZBA meeting at the senior center. I was very disappointed to see how dark the parking lot was. Days are getting shorter. I think it's a safety issue. I'd like to see another light or different bulbs or whatever it takes to light up the yard. We got money from bottling industry to help us with the recycling. How is that money going to be used? Is it going to lessen the amount from the warrant article appropriation, or how might it be used? School budget. I keep reading, and they show it on the news, that some teachers are spending their own money to buy supplies for their students. Is the school budget sufficient so that that doesn't happen? And same thing for the senior center. Is their budget sufficient to cover all of the programs and benefits that they offer to us? Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
I tried.
Mr. Manager, any comment on those items?
Regarding the grant, there was an article this past week. The town, through the hard work of Erica DiDonato, our recycling and sustainability coordinator, obtained a $110,000 grant. This was discussed during the budget process that we were going to be pursuing that grant. Town meeting approved $980,000 for the purchase of the 16,000 barrels that the town needs to transition to automated trash collection. And so the grant will be used to defray the cost of those recycling carts, which was roughly half of the cost. So that Mr. Bill Bradstreet is correct that the grant will result in spending down less of the warrant article than town meeting. Town meeting appropriated the gross amount because we couldn't anticipate the grant or count on the grant. But this will leave some money behind in that warrant article that can be reappropriated at a future town meeting.
Thank you. That was one of 4 items of Mr. Bradstreet.
I cannot speak to the. I can't speak to whether or not the school budget or the senior budget is adequate. We collaborate with the schools and the senior center each year as part of the budget process, knowing that we do the best we can with the resources we have. Certainly, that's the question you'd probably want to ask the school committee in terms of the school committee budget. But I certainly can't speak to whether or not it's adequate. And then the senior center lighting, we've discussed many, many times. We've had the buildings division out there, electrical out there to take a look at it. They've made some changes. Bill knows that Clint Allen is the person he should be contacting if he has further ideas, and not the select board. But we'll take another look at it, Bill. We'll take another look at it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Are there any other items of new public business, please? Hearing none, we will proceed with our regular agenda.
Mr. Chairman, if I might note that the agenda missed acceptance of our minutes in the previous
Oh,
meeting.
thank you. And so.
But,
I have a comment.
okay.
The minutes are complete, however, I've been on vacation and have not had time to review the minutes, so we'll do 2 sets of minutes next time.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Would you proceed with the agenda, please?
Sure. Item 2, a public hearing will be held on Verizon and Danvers Electric Division joint poll petition, Verizon New England, Inc., number 1A6AX9V, dated July 28, 2023, requesting permission to locate poles, wires, cables, and fixtures, including anchors, guys, and other such necessary sustaining and protecting fixtures along and across the following public way or ways, placing one joint-owned pole number 12-1, on the northerly side of Adams Street at a point approximately 52 feet northwesterly from existing pole number 12.
Thank you. Is there someone here to speak with respect to this request from Verizon and the Danvers Electric? I think that probably.
We have distribution engineer Ed Bandar is here on behalf of Danvers Electric.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if a Verizon rep would be here. So the proposed pole is.
Could you identify yourself?
I
please?
apologize, I thought Steve just, I'm Ed Bandar, a distribution engineer for the electric division.
Thank you.
So we actually requested this on behalf of the customer who owns the property at 49 Adams Street. They have approval to build another 2-unit condos, I believe, in the back. And as it currently stands, we have no way of feeding that building, so this pole would allow the customer to trench and run new underground secondary for power and for Verizon for communications and television.
Okay. Questions from members of the board?
No, he explained why, that was my question, so now I understand why, and given that we're not experts or engineers, I have no questions that would be appropriate.
Thank you, Dan.
The where is interesting. So I see that it's almost on the lot line of 49 Adams. Is that inside the, or on the, I can't tell if there's a sidewalk here and if it's on the outside of the sidewalk or?
So as it stands right now, it's going to be on the outside of the sidewalk with
Okay.
the anchor just right over the sidewalk line.
Thank you very much. Those are my questions.
Thank you.
We'll get the why and where.
Maureen, any?
All the questions were answered. Thank you, David.
Thank you, dear. Mr. Bradstreet.
Dan Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. This pole is being installed for a specific lot for access to electricity. Is there any cost to, obviously the cost to the town, but to the property owner for the ability to have this pole feed electricity to his development or division of his property?
To a new use. Are you comfortable answering that, Steve?
I kind of haven't.
What I heard is it benefiting only private interests, and is it being paid with public money? Is that what I heard you say?
So under the current terms and conditions of Danvers Electric, each customer is granted one pole and one span. However, this is Verizon doing the work, so I cannot speak to whether or not the homeowner will be billed for the work.
Okay.
But if it was in the Danvers set territory, we would not be billing them.
Steve, had you anything to add?
Ed speaks electric division policy far more fluently than I do, so.
Okay. That's about the best we can do for an answer tonight. Thank you so much. Other members of the public comments on the petition?
I move we close the public hearing.
Move to close. Is there a
Second.
Second. And now we'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. It is-
Motion on, now a motion on the request.
Okay, is there a motion on the, on request for item 2 on the agenda?
I move we accept the application as presented.
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? It is a vote. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. Have a nice night.
Kathy?
Ready? Item 3, the board will consider an application for a first-time banner for the Human Rights and Inclusion Committee in celebration of Latinx Heritage Month over Maple Street from September 18th through the 24th, 2023. The event coordinator is Johan Hunter.
Now, would someone like to speak about the banner and about the event? Thank you, and please identify yourself and keep your voices up so we can all hear you.
So my name is Johan Hunter, and we also have Jorge, who is the chair of the event. We are representing the Human Rights and Inclusion Committee and asking for the select board's permission to hang a banner over Maple Street in order to advertise the second annual Latinx Heritage Festival. We have two options for when we would prefer the banner to be hung. The most optimal time would be the week of leading up to the event, so the Monday of September 18th through September 24th. The event takes place on the 23rd at the high school. If that week is not available, our second choice would be the week before that, which would be September 11th to the 18th.
You're limiting yourself to just a single week?
So that's a question that I asked. I thought that it was only 1 week. What is the typical time frame for the banner to be over Maple Street?
I can
Go
answer
ahead.
that.
Yeah, please.
The policy is that applicants get 1 week at one end of the square due to limited availability. So in order to keep it fair, everybody gets 1 week. Unless there doesn't happen to be anything, say the following week, sometimes a banner would stay up longer.
Well,
If I may, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please.
Have they applied for a date yet? And do you know if one's available?
Yes, the first date that they requested, September 18th through the 24th, was available, and I have tentatively plugged that in on the.
So that's
on
the week
calendar.
we would approve.
We would give them the first choice week.
Okay, thank you.
any other, Karen, any thoughts?
I have no thoughts other than, sir, I wish you success, whatever week best fits.
I think it would also be nice if you explained while we're on television as to just what the event will be. And then my own thought on that is, if no one else is using the banner space, I don't know why we couldn't have it up for 2 weeks. But I don't write the policies, you know.
I think the board did make that part of the policy for banner hangings, that it's a 1 week.
Well, we could, if there's nobody.
Can I ask,
There
is
have
it,
been exceptions for town events.
if I might ask, our next meeting isn't until September 19th. And so I'm wondering, is there any other applicants looking for that location between now and then that we would approve?
I don't have the calendar in front of me at this time, but I could certainly, if the week prior to, their first request was September 18th through the 24th. The event's on the 23rd, we wouldn't go to the week after. If the board would so want to do, we could, if the availability the week before, we could certainly try to put it up the week before, and so that it could have 2 weeks, if nobody else is
If there's, right,
looking
if there's
for
no
it.
competition for that space, I would consider this a town event, and I would recommend we go for the 2 weeks motion in that manner, if that were the
I do
case.
too. I don't know how someone would have to move to waive the ordinary application of the policy.
Well, as I understand it, if somebody else applies, then they're gonna get that other week. And she doesn't know, she doesn't have the calendar.
Yeah.
And she can't say no to somebody, because we're giving away for 2 weeks, that's against that policy.
Okay,
But,
So it's up to, if it's available, Kathy will determine they can have it.
and if someone were to come at our next meeting on the 19th, it certainly wouldn't be for event the remainder of that week.
It would be too late,
It would be too late, so I'm saying,
so,
right, where if there is no collision now, there
Yes.
wouldn't be a collision even if someone came at our next meeting.
correct.
So given that, and where it is a town-sponsored event through the committee, I'll motion to make it the full 2 weeks if available.
Sure.
But
okay.
I'll wait till I hear the other members.
Maureen, any comments, thoughts?
I like that idea too, but I don't like to break policies. I think to make it fair, we'd want to keep it for a week, for the week that they want. I think that's great, and I plan on attending.
Thank you.
But had we not heard that for town events, we have changed that
Have we
policy?
changed it? I
For
thought it
that,
was-
for town events.
Is that true, the clerk? What is the
There are
policy?
times where an applicant, whether it be town or other, depending on which week they choose, if they choose a week that's, 2 weeks before and there's nothing that's scheduled to go up, rather than have the electric department go to take a banner down, there are times where a banner may hang for 2 weeks so that we don't utilize resources taking down a banner when we have nothing else to go up.
And I just, if,
So it's 1 week is the policy.
Gad, you had a suggestion to solve this?
Well, I'm responding to Maureen's concerns, policy versus practice, and we've had practice where we've left them up. And so I'm going to motion that we give them the desired week, and if there's no other applicant on the calendar, that we allow it to stay their second week.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Dan?
we're spending a lot of time on nothing. They ask for a week, we give them a week. If the week before is available, they will get it to put it up. If it's not available, it's not available. We have a one-week policy.
Okay,
That's what we should approve.
okay. Then is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Good. That solves that.
Did you want me to share, you asked to share more
Yes, would
information
you
about
tell
the
us-
event for the
Tell us
folks
about the
watching?
celebration.
So the event is called Celebración. It's an opportunity to celebrate emerging Latinx population in the town of Danvers. Obviously, it's free and open to the public. It will be held at the high school. There will be food, music, and activities. We hope to highlight Latin American, Caribbean, and Hispanic identities, showcase the beauty and diversity within these cultures, and foster a sense of belonging through these experiences. Again, the event is free and open to the public, and there will be food trucks. So we encourage those. And events have always been family-friendly for those who,
I
Was
was
it,
there last year, the food was excellent.
yeah, was it at the library last year? It was
Yes.
fun. It was a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
Okay, thank you for appearing, and thanks for the information, and I hope to be there myself.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You ready?
Yes, please.
Item 4, the board will consider the application of David Panett on behalf of Twisted Fate Brewing LLC for a one-day malt and wine license at Endicott Park on Saturday, September 16th, 2023, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. for Oniontown Field Day in conjunction with and to benefit the Friends of Endicott Park with a rain date of September 23rd, 2023.
Is there a representative? Please identify yourself.
Good evening to the board. My name is Erica Trita. I'm one of the owners of Twisted Fate Brewing and the spouse of David Panett, who is the petitioner as listed on the agenda.
And what would you like from the board tonight?
Thank you. Tonight, I've presented an application to serve and sell beers at Oniontown Fall Fest, which is coming up September 16th, excuse me. I'm requesting a one-day malt license, excuse me, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. for the duration of the event to allow us to set up, sell, and pour beers throughout the event in conjunction with the rest of the activities. There's music, there's food, obviously there's a lot more going on at Oniontown, but we're applying to be one of the vendors.
Thank you, Erica. Are the papers in order, Madam Clerk?
The paperwork is in order.
Members of the board, are there questions or comments?
I do have a comment.
Yes,
The
please.
the rain date is 9/23, which is the same day for the event we just approved. Let's hope it doesn't rain. Do they have a banner going up for Oniontown?
No, the event date is September 16th. I don't know if I misspoke, but
Down below, it says rain date 9/23.
correct.
And I just commented that it's the same date on the event that we just approved the banner
Oh,
for.
the
That's
other
all, I'm just
event.
making a comment.
Oh,
But
okay.
they're at different locations.
That's right. But I can't be in both places at once.
You take turns.
I guess you take turns. But if I had a beer at the field day, I can't go to the high school. So I guess I'd have to go to the high school first. Did they ask for a banner?
Not for this event. no.
Not for this event, interesting. Okay, that's all my comments, thank you.
Dan Gardner, anything?
Just the standard questions, the people who will be serving are tip certified?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and this is the second of two breweries that came before us, correct?
Yes, my understanding is Bentwater was before the board already.
Yes.
And have been approved to, just as last year, we were
Okay.
both there
And
as
I'll
well.
presume that they're in the same location and area where they're serving, and we were fine with Bentwater, so I'm all set, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gardner. Maureen, any?
I just, with what Board Member Bennett said, be nice not to have, maybe have a banner, but is it being posted so people know more about this?
I believe so. So certainly through social media, we've seen it also on Facebook and Instagram, both through like We Are Danvers promotes it quite a bit. And I'm not sure if it's on a town page yet or not, but I'll
It would
certainly.
be nice if it was posted somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I would just like to follow up on Maureen's comment. I wish we could have a show and tell some night for 1 hour, giving examples of all of the places where information is available on the internet. Because there's a lot of people like me that are able to do emails and a couple other things and read the patch in the morning. But otherwise, it's trying to keep up with everything when people talk about social media. I would like to some night have a show and tell. Just exactly what is the social media that Danvers citizens are expected to rely upon to know what is happening in their government and in their community? That's not directed to you, that's directed to us, I guess. And we can hear from any of the public who might agree or disagree. Thank you.
Us dinosaurs.
Okay. Anything else from with Erica?
No, I make a motion, if I may, to approve the application as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, Erica, for coming in
Thank you so
tonight.
much.
Item number 5, the board will consider a vote to approve a quitclaim deed related to 2022 Glen Magna Endicott Park land swap home rule petition.
I think it would be helpful if former member of the Board of Selectmen, David McKenna, and my old colleague, who has been at the forefront of trying to make this happen for probably 15 years.
40 years, apparently.
4 or 40?
40.
40. Dave, would you be willing to speak to this, exactly what we are doing tonight?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dave McKenna, President of the Danvers Historical Society. I haven't personally been working on it for 40 years, but apparently, there's a little history, I'll try to be fairly brief. 1960, Endicott Estate was subdivided into 280 house lots, and the central portion was going to be kept as the developer's home-based central headquarters. The town realized they were going to have to build probably 3 schools and had a hissy fit and decided they're going to do something about it. They say they would buy the majority of it for Endicott Park, which town meeting approved, if the Historical Society bought the central location, which is now Glen Magna. However, because of the way the land was divided, because of the way they laid out roads and laid out house lots, the Glen Magna was a very strange-shaped piece of property, which actually included a good chunk of the activity field across from the public the gardens. So town back in 1984, I think under John George as selectman, started working and trying to get that ameliorated, get it straightened out. They worked up a land swap, town meeting voted on it, the legislature voted to approve it, and for some reason, it never happened. Nobody knows why. About 5 years ago, Tom Page, who was president of the society, and Susan Fletcher, who was our head planner at the time, tripped over the paperwork and said we should get this finished. And because of the changes in the laws and the fact that things are so much complicated now, it took almost 5 years. And we're now at the point where we're ready to sign papers and deed over that piece of the public field that you're using for public activities in exchange for the parking lot we're using that the town currently owns, and little bits and pieces here and there that kind of square things off. It's an equal amount of land for an equal amount of land, and the state has approved it. Mass Historical has approved it. Our Board of Trustees and membership voted for it. Town meeting voted for it. And the last step now is for the Board of Selectmen to sign the quitclaim deed, and then we can make things right as it should have been in the first place if it hadn't been for that very strange subdivision plan.
Thank you, Dave. Maybe there are some questions from.
Sure,
board
be happy to answer any.
Maureen, do you have questions for David?
No, I think, I was doing some research. It has been going on for a while.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great idea.
1983.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm
Thank you,
fine.
Maureen. Dan?
I'm just a little confused, David, and the town manager through you, Mr. Chairman. This has to be signed off, as I understand it, by a member of the Historic Society, the president, the chairman of the board of select board, you, and it has to be notarized. Am I right so far?
I was told by our council that the Board of Selectmen would all have to sign it, I think.
And this says it's notarized by somebody, and there's nobody here to notarize these signatures.
I'm a notary.
Okay, so that answers that.
All right,
Okay,
take care of that.
very good.
Thank
And
you
if
for
that's the
checking.
case, we'll just have to chase down Mr. Duggan, but
Well, you don't need all five.
don't need all five, okay.
No.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I just wanted to be clear. We can sign, Kathy is the notary of record, and I'm fine with this. Thank you. You're welcome.
No, I'm looking forward to this finally reaching some conclusions.
So will
after
we.
So many, yes, I bet.
Steve, any wisdom from?
No, Dave summarized it beautifully. Had this been executed when town meeting first approved it, this would have been done 40 years ago. But because of changes in law, we're dealing now with Chapter 97 land, the process had to be restarted. So town meeting had reapproved this several years ago. I would acknowledge the efforts of Representative Kearns in helping to navigate this through the legislature. Aaron Henry from staff was very involved with the DHS and Attorney DeLuca to get this done. And really, it's a formality at this point. The town meeting has they signed off on this multiple years ago, and we've reached the finish line.
Thank you, Steve. And David, thank you for all of your committed, generous efforts to make this happen. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we vote to approve the quitclaim deed, which is related to the 2022 Glen Magna Endicott Park land swap home rule petition.
Second the motion?
There's a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It's a vote. Thank you very much, Dave.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to all the members of the board. And
So Kathy,
Steve
do you
for
need
his
our
help, too.
licenses?
You are known to me, so
Okay.
I'm good with that.
Our next item, yeah.
The town manager will report to the board on various items of interest.
Just three quick items tonight. First, you received a copy in your packets of a letter from my office to the Beverly City Council recommending Bill Casawan, based on a vote of the board, to join the Beverly Airport Commission. I believe their meeting starts in about 1 minute tonight. It's on their agenda for this evening's city council meeting. I'm getting a shake of the head from Kathy. I thought September 5th, Beverly City Council.
That may have been their next meeting. You met last on August 15th. The letter went out snail mail on August 16th. Their agenda was finalized on August 17th. I believe it was still in the mail at that time.
I'll continue.
Oh, okay, if it,
This is hot off the press from Ann as of 3:55 today. It doesn't matter. It's in
Okay.
their hands. They're going to be taking a vote on it. I believe it's tonight. I may be mistaken.
At the airport, Steve?
This is for the airport
At the airport,
representative. Yep. So that's in motion. Just a reminder, I think at least one board member has RSVP'd for the State of the Region next week, so if anybody wants
I'm
to
gonna go.
attend,
Yeah.
if you haven't already done so, let Ann know, and she'll reserve a seat for you at that event. And then, just looking back and looking ahead, we had a very well-attended meeting of the Budget Conference Committee in August. I would like to propose a date of October 12th, which is a Thursday, for the third meeting of that body. That would be a little more than a month from now. At the meeting in August, there was good discussion on a number of the topics that were raised in June. Most of the discussion was about the potential for a trash fee moving forward in the town starting next year. And there was guidance from the body to gather more information. So it's anticipated at this point that the primary focus for the third meeting of the Budget Conference Committee on October 12th will be to provide answers to a lot of the questions that were raised in terms of communities across the Commonwealth providing curbside service, which communities are utilizing trash fees to offset part of the cost of that service, what those fees are, put that into Danvers context so that the board can continue that discussion with an eye ahead to the FY25 budget process.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman? Did you mention a time?
We've had the first two at 6 PM, so I'd be suggesting we continue that.
Okay, preservation meets at 5, but if they do everything, I'll get the meeting done in short time. Same place, police
Same
station?
place, and I wanted to float the idea tonight to the board, and I'll send an email tomorrow to all 4 of the major boards.
Thank you.
And this would be a publicly noticed meeting, and we certainly would encourage the public to come. So location to be determined. We've had the first 2 at the police department. We may have the 3rd meeting in a slightly larger venue. But
Senior
more
center,
information to
maybe.
follow.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dan.
And school starts tomorrow, so that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Steve.
Motion to approve the consent calendar, Mr. Chairman?
Is there a second? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
It is a vote. Thank you.
Correspondence, Select Board new business, previous new business, updates, and Select Board closing comments.
Maureen, have you anything to report?
Do you want me to just,
Anything?
anything? Let's see. Vacation's been good. Weather's very hot today. The rail trail, we've got some concerns, some observations from Mr. Bradstreet that I'll get back to him about. Other than that, I think the budget meeting went well. I don't know if we're going to discuss anything like that. Steve will set the date, the October 12th. I encourage people to come really and hear and listen. He doesn't know where it's going to be, maybe at the senior center, because hopefully there'll be a nice turnout. You want to hear what's going on, with the budget. I mean, we have to really take a look at this, with regards to the trash, the school, special education, electric pilot programs, things like that. We'll discuss more of it then, so you'll hear more from me. My concerns were, the budget is the budget, but we need to, how do I want to say, quote unquote, maybe not trim the fat a little bit. Let's take a look at, where we can save money. If everybody could review the town budget, I believe it's on the website, Steve. So, go through some line items and see, where maybe people think that we can cut back on some things. There was, I don't know if we talk about it, can we say that they were talking about possible layoffs, with people? We don't want that. So I'm looking to really have everybody come to the meeting and look at how we can cut back on some, I don't want to say services, but I don't want to say raises either, but, trash. We talked about, is there going to be a trash fee imposed to the residents? We didn't pay for the trash barrels, but is there going to be a fee coming along, to people? I like to see more about more communities. I want to do some research myself. But I really strongly encourage everybody to come to that meeting and look at the budget and see what, circle some things or highlight some questions for the town manager or the board or the department heads. I guess that was my timer to quit.
No,
Okay,
I
that's
hate-
it. Kind of a lot.
minutes.
Thank you.
I hate when that happens.
Mr. Chairman, can I, through you, get clarification from the manager as to the agenda item for October 12th?
Yeah, the direction coming out of the last meeting was to dial in on the landscape in terms of trash fees and curbside collection across the Commonwealth, and then to provide a little more information about what that would look like in Danvers, and that we're working with the schools to put into context some of the ideas that were discussed in terms of special education programming and class size equity across the district. But the trash fee was the primary directive in terms of what to focus in on for the next meeting.
And can I just say, I would compliment the superintendent. I think we really have a really good superintendent, had some really great ideas. So he's going to be there too, Steve, right? So I would encourage everybody to come and hear what he has to say.
Mr. Chairman,
Thank you, Maureen.
if I might, having attended the same meeting, yes, we always encourage people to look at the budget and try to find places that they want to suggest are potential opportunities for savings. No doubt about it. And we did discuss the options that we had on the table. There were several. One was and always is, there's a potential for service cuts, but there was not a discussion of layoffs. And I want to make sure people, especially employees, are not concerned that that was a discussion point. It was. We have three primary opportunities that we could look at, including cutting services. Now, the discussion point is where 78% plus or minus of our budget goes to personnel benefits and related costs. You know, it's hard to see when someone says cut 10% across the board, the reality of that opportunity, because some departments are solely made up of employees. So there's not the opportunity to not pave a street or not plow as often as we do or not mow. But there was not a discussion point of layoffs, and I don't want the people of the town or the employees of the town worried that that was a discussion point. It wasn't, other than the broad spectrum of if we cut services, it may affect employees through attrition, through some other means, but I just want to, it's dangerous to throw out the thought that layoffs are coming. That's not what, and actually that was not, the opportunity to cut services got the third least votes of the three opportunities we had. And we're going to clarify those opportunities at the next meeting, but I don't want people thinking we discussed in that meeting that there were going to be layoffs. That would be dead wrong.
Thank you, Dan. Dan, did you have comments? Anything further on?
I do, if I may, if I could ask the manager to have somebody proofread the website, the select board overview, and do the correction. It says, the second sentence needs an as instead of an a.
Thank you.
And really, we done?
It's your turn if you want to, Dan, to talk about it.
I'll save the veterans to the end.
Sure, yeah, thank you. Let me see, what I wanted to say was, thank you, Dan, for covering for me. At
You're welcome.
that last budget conference. I really could have come in, but I was away for the first vacation in 5 years, which I have not been able to do because my mobility is not good. People see me stumbling all over. I'm checked all the time for this. This is still working, but the rest of it's not working too well. The other thing is, not to get into a big discussion tonight, I am still concerned as a presiding officer of this board with this recent state Supreme Court decision, which really has created chaos and wonder as to how public meetings are to be regulated and what people can say and not say. The reason I'm concerned is that I'm an old lawyer, and I know that the presiding officer can be sued for violating civil and constitutional rights if a person is silenced who is supposed to be able to speak, and the law is not clear. And so whether we get to it, if anyone else is interested in getting to it, I am, and I think that it would involve, once again, our town lawyer, and that he works with a wonderful firm, and I'm sure that they are attentive to the same concerns in 20 or 30 or 40 other communities where they're the lawyers, you know, for them. And then there really needs to, I think there really needs to be some clarification and kind of some rules of the road of what a presiding officer, me for the time being, for the next 6 months, and then whoever else is presiding at a meeting. So it concerns me, and I was thinking, and I'll just leave it after this, I was thinking, when in doubt, say, this meeting has to be in recess, and just call a recess and go and just sit in the back room for 5 or 10 minutes and let everybody fight it out in the audience. I don't know what the answer would be, but I think it's something that does require our attention for the protection, not just of the town, but of the presiding officer of any particular public meeting. Thank you. And I have nothing else to add for new business. Does anyone else want to say anything about anything other than Dan's closing comment?
I'll say.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you. So please, if you see a veteran, thank them for their service, and remember the veterans. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. And
Thank
thanks,
you.
everyone.
Sure.
Audience.
No, Kathy.
Okay. Kathy, just for Kathy. All right, David, thank you. Congratulations. I think that's the second shortest meeting we've ever had.
Wow.
Usually the reorg is short. This one's, yeah.